The truck and EV market has gone absolutely ballistic for Ford. I mean, look at vehicles like this. We have the Ford Lightning. Obviously, with all of the technology, you're into six figures for this vehicle. Over here, F-150. Vehicles like this, you can pay $80,000, $90,000 for Canadian funds. And beautiful trucks like this, we have the F-150 Lariat. Of course, it's all decked out with leather and sunroof, has all the technology. These vehicles here, you're finding for $80,000, $90,000. More trucks, F-150 base models, are still gonna be $70,000, $60,000. Of course, we have an F-150 XLT, and you're gonna find these trucks here for $75,000. And where does this end? The prices are going through the roof. So what does Ford do? Since they're not selling electric vehicles, nobody wants the Lightning, nobody wants the Ford Mustang Mach-E's, they're selling another option for you, the buyer. And no, nobody wants really the Bronco Sport. They're not selling as good as Ford hoped they would. And as you can see, there's lots of them all over the lot here. There's lots of Ford Bronco Sports. And while the full-size Broncos seem to be the flavor of the day, the sheer cost of those too is almost cost prohibitive for most people. So either you take a Sport or you don't even bother. And so yes, Ford has actually realized that the Ford Mustang Mach-E, like we're looking at right here, they're not selling like they were hoping. I mean, yeah, they've got all the great detail like that, great rims, of course, some great technology, and of course, it's their contribution to the electrified market. But the Mustang Mach-E's were not selling up until about 2 months ago when they started pumping up the incentives and scaling back the prices. Even the Ford Mustang or even the Ford Lightning wasn't selling that great either. People just didn't want them. You weren't getting the range. And clearly Farley had his hands behind the wheel of a brand new Lightning and he couldn't get the range and was found himself very disappointed. Quality issues were getting with some of these vehicles and the Mustang Mach-E's just aren't selling. So what did Ford do? They basically decided to stop the battery production facility. They also decided to incentivize the sales for the Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning because they weren't selling. So they've decided to go another route. Ford goes and sells a truck like this. I mean, does everybody have this kind of money? We're dealing with a Shelby. And look at the beautiful wheels on there. Sure, big bull truck. This is an F-150 off-road Shelby right here with the big wheels. They jack it up, put the big fancy grille on the front. Here we're dealing with a Shelby. All kinds of greatness here. But this greatness comes at a cost. Any guesses how much? Let's take a look. There's a window sticker in here by Shelby American. What do we have here? Uh-oh. There's a whole host of parts and pieces, and you can see it's got a lift kit, big boots. It's got much more performance. I mean, if you look at it here, they do say 775 horsepower. So you get the performance, the lift kit. Yeah, it's a nice truck. But $193,000? Right there, folks. I'm not lying. $193,899. Now I've literally seen it all. And guess what? They're selling because here's another one. That's right, Ford's joined the ranks of GM as well as Stellantis and the Rams by overpricing a lower end product. And here's another Shelby right here. Would you believe these are actually selling? People are looking for this kind of vehicle. Here's another example of the Shelby with the 775 horsepower that's going to cost you up and close to $200,000 Canadian funds to get your hand on one of these vehicles. Sure, it's a beautiful truck, absolutely gorgeous, but really, that kind of money? Okay, so what does Ford do? They can't sell those trucks. Nobody's really buying them. I mean, there's always that one person, but it's gonna sit a long time. The F-150s are up to 70, 80, 90 grand. Even for a Tremor, you're close to $85,000 and above. So what do they go and do? They sell us a substandard lower grade vehicle, and they're selling like hotcakes, but they're selling us a lower grade vehicle to make up for the fact that there's a gap in the market and people can no longer afford a pickup truck. And this is what they're offering right here. Yes, what are we looking at here? Here, this is a Maverick. So Ford's offering up this is the most popular vehicle right now. People can't get their hands on these. They're sold out like hotcakes. Why? Because now 60% of the sales of these are coming from people outside the brand. Yes, this is actually bringing people in the Ford brand, and clearly that was a target. That was definitely an effort to try to increase the market share for the brand and as well offer something that people couldn't get their hands on a regular pickup truck. They needed something that they could do regular pickup truck duties, and this was it. Here's is an XLT. These go for about $44,000 Canadian in the hybrid version like this. And believe it or not, the hybrid is only about $1,500 US, or a couple grand more than the non-hybrid versions of this particular vehicle, the Maverick. And so it does represent a little bit of a price point, and that was Ford's attempt at getting people into a mid-sized truck or a smaller truck, of course, and beat some of their competition to the punch. But personally, I feel like this feels so wrong. I mean, a few short years ago, for $44,000, I could get myself a full-size F-150, full-size Ram 1500, GM, Sierra, Silverado. I could get myself a truck like that for 40 grand, $50,000, 4x4, and the whole 9 yards. So Ford's realizing very quickly, obviously, pure electric vehicles like the Mustang Mach-E like this, as well as the F-150 Lightning, mean that you need this in place. You need to run a cable and have your vehicle tethered up like this 24/7 pretty much if you want to make sure it has a charge, almost like your cell phone. You have to have it plugged in at all times, or it starts to deteriorate and you won't get the range you're hoping for. And according to Edmunds data, they're saying the average electric vehicle sale cost was about $60,000 last year versus about $42,000 for your average hybrid vehicle, and of course $47,000 for your average transaction of a regular internal combustion vehicle. Ford is capitalizing on the hybrid market by providing a smaller, more cost-effective option for customers looking to get into a truck. But it's not a real truck, it's a smaller, more diminutive version of what people consider to be a truck. Now, while some people like the smaller trucks, they're easier to park, they're better on fuel, the fact remains is a lot of people trying to do truck duties like towing, hauling, can't necessarily do so much of that with that smaller truck. And Cox Automotive actually anticipates of the 15.7 million units across the nation to be expected to be sold next year, they expect over 14.7% of that to be pure hybrid, as opposed to the 10% of pure EV, which of course is losing its popularity quickly and is decelerating on the rate of growth just because people are realizing that it's just not the practical solution. Cold weather takes a toll, it doesn't have the range, it does get expensive when there's repairs, it's just not practical for everybody involved. And so while not everybody wants a $200,000 pickup truck like this beautiful Shelby, a lot of people are actually looking for vehicles like this. We're talking about the Maverick. Here we're looking at an XLT version of the Maverick. And a lot of people are just good with that. And that's actually contributed to the fact that Ford has seen a 37% increase in hybrid vehicles in the first quarter of 2024. This is the major contributing factor to the growth of Ford in this last quarter of this last couple months. So clearly it seems like Ford has figured something out. They've definitely brought a lower end vehicle to the market to fill a gap that used to exist with full-size pickup trucks. So while realistically a beautiful truck like this, we're talking about the Ford F-150 Tremor like that, in all of its glory, its beautiful tinted windows, like this beautiful accent in this. The mirrors look great, the handles, you've got the beautiful stepping boards, and of course the upsized tires and the decals to show the Tremor. It just looks like a great truck. But this is the truck that I wish I could get for $40,000. Not one of those little baby trucks. This is actually more like what I'd like to see available, but unfortunately I think the ship has sailed and customers are getting a little disappointed. And truly, they feel like they've been hard done by. And so free enterprise means it's great that people have options like electric truck or gas trucks. And it's great to see that the big three are still offering up a lot of these options. You can get XLTs and all of these base trucks, middle level trucks. You can get gas and diesel and everything that you want. But the problem is it all comes at such an escalating price tag that now customers are literally screwed. Doesn't matter which way you go. If you're going Ford, GM, or Dodge, Ram, Stellantis, people are paying too much for these trucks these days. Affordable trucks is becoming a thing of the past, and unfortunately, if a person wants an affordable truck, they may have to start looking at options like the Maverick Hybrid. And while some of these prices of the new Fords are going up, at least they're offering up a gap vehicle like the Maverick Hybrid, for example. And if you definitely want to learn more about what's going on in the GM camp, or even possibly with the Stellantis and the Rams, or even the Jeep products specifically, hope to see each and every one in the next one. We'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.